Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Here we are. Like and subscribe. Please do like and subscribe. And have a look at my book. There's a link down there, yeah? Okay. I'm going to talk today about the problems that persisted in the 60s, 70s and 80s at HM prisons when they had bars, clubs that served alcoholic drinks at lunchtime, and the staff would go in, not all the staff of course, but some of the staff would go in and get themselves slightly inebriated, come back and entertain themselves at the expense of the inmates. In other words, indulge in a bit of a punch-up. Unfortunately, that did happen, and eventually it's been stopped. They no longer have prison clubs, and it wasn't just the prisons, it was the police as well. Seriously, if you've ever seen the film or the TV series, have a look at it. It's called Life on Mars. Yeah, it tells the story about this guy who goes back in time to 1973, and he's a member of the police, a detective with the police, and it tells the story what the police were. They were exactly like that. My father was at the time that set. My father was a detective inspector. And he's very much like the character that's played in that film by Philip Glenister. You know, hit first, ask questions later. Not a case of, we'd like to talk to you about this. It's a case of, now tell us why you did it. That kind of thing. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And it was pretty much the same in the prisons, you know, where they go in and get tanked up. I don't say my father was doing it drunk. He wasn't. He was sober, but still, it was a violent time. You know, when the police used to instant justice, yeah, get beaten up in the cells. See, he did. I was arrested once by the police. Seriously, I was 11 years old. I know it's hard to believe. 11 years old, I was a Boy Scout, dressed in my Boy Scout's uniform, and I was collecting it. They asked for volunteers, so I said I'll do it. It was collecting for the Royal Lifeboat Institute, the RNLI. Yeah, collecting, you know, he had a little tin with they sold flags, you know. So I was out doing this, and I didn't know any better. I was going up to people, come on, missus, give us a tenner. You know, I would buy a flag for the Lifeboat Association. I was doing really well. Selling loads of flags, getting loads of tanners and stuff like that. And this policeman came up to me and said, you're not allowed to do that, you know. 11 years old, Scout uniform on, toggle the full Monty, you know. I said, I don't know what you mean. He just told me to come out and collect for the Royal Lifeboat Association, you know. No, he said, you're not allowed to go up to people, you're not allowed to shake your can, you've just got to stand there. If they want to buy a flag, they'll come and buy a flag for you. All right, okay, well, I didn't know. So give me your name and address. So I give him my name and address. And I thought no more about it, you know. I just took his instructions and no longer did the rattle in the can and give us a tanner, missus, and all that. And I went at the end of the day, took my coins back in the tin and handed them to the scoutmaster, and that was it. That was the end of my day, and I went home, and my dad was sat at home, and he said, you've got something to tell me, haven't you? I said, well, not really, no, I've been out with the Boy Scouts, you know, collecting for the Lifeboat Association. He said, weren't you cautioned by the police today? I said, well, the policeman did tell me I weren't allowed to rattle me can and all that. I said, but I didn't know. He said, right, get in the car. Seriously? So get in the car, drives me to the police station, takes me into the cells and locks me in this cell. Seriously, 11 years old. I've been in there about 10 minutes. All of a sudden, I'm still in my Boy Scout uniform, beret on, toggle, all the lot. Door bursts open, two big bloody detectives come charging in. Right. Took one look at me and started pissing themselves laughing. Well, I didn't know what it was all about. But obviously my father, for a joke, had said to these detectives, we got trouble in that cell, go and give him a good hiding. So seriously, Yeah, your dad would do that to you. Yeah. Well, they come bursting into the cellar. Oh, bloody hell! Anyway, I didn't get a good hiding by the police then, but I mean, it was a bit frightening, 11 years old. Yeah, so anyway, the prisons and drinking. Yeah, well, it was the culture at the time. A number of the staff got prosecuted for drunken driving because they'd be drinking. You'd start your lunch break about 12, say, finish about 1, come back into the prison. But when they'd finished at night, it would open and they'd go straight into the club, you see, and neck a few more, then go home. Of course, they were well under the weather by then. A number of them got prosecuted. One of them got prosecuted twice, and they said to him, if you get prosecuted again, you go into prison. Anyway, he was eventually dismissed from the service, or required to resign. I would think that would be more like it. But drinking on duty was the norm at the time. And when I say the norm, because Norman Brown was in the club, he was the governor at Strangeways, and he was in the club drinking with the boys. His mate was the chief officer, and they were both stood at the bar. Norman very often had a bottle of beer, drank bottled beer more than draft Boddington's, because Boddington's bitter was the tipple of the day and that time, and it was really nice stuff. But I mean, I personally didn't drink at dinner time. I used to go running, I used to go running anywhere up to 8 to 10 miles. I could really shift in them days. Can't walk for a piss these days. Anyway, seriously, that's what they were doing, and they're coming in, and next thing you know, you'd hear people screaming, and some drunken jailers got them up against the wall like that. Poof. I tell you, and the problem was, I mean, I would try and intervene, to stop them from doing this. You do that, you're going to catch one yourself, I was assaulted on a number of occasions by staff. On one occasion, it's in my next book. Actually, it's in part 3 of my next book, which should be published by April, I think. It was Christmas Day, and I lived about 10 miles away from the jail. So it came lunchtime, and I said to the guy I was working with, because we was working on a clinic, our hospital officer, you see. And I said to him, look, I can't drive home at lunchtime. It's 10 miles away, so I just can't do it. I said, but you live about 2 miles up the road. You have my lunch, take 2 hours, go and see your family on Christmas Day. Oh, I said, that's very kind of you. I said, it's all right. I'll be all right here. I'll read my book, and because I was studying at the time, I'll read my book. I've got a flask of coffee. I'll have that. So off he went. He didn't come back till 2:30. Seriously. And when he came back, he got a face like a slapped ass. He hadn't gone home, he'd gone into the club, and he'd been drinking solid for 2 hours, done all his money on the one-armed bandits, and he was in a violent mood. Violent. He didn't attack any prisoners, he attacked me. I said to him, what's the matter with you, lad? You've had 2 hours for your lunch, you should be happy. Come here, you clever bastard, he said, and communist shithouse grabbed hold of me and started strangling me. Well, we were in the clinic, there was files drawn up of insulin for the diabetics, all the medication was out, gallon jars of bloody Largactil and all sorts of stuff. If I'd have started fighting in there, we'd have smashed the place to bits. So I just had to roll with it, and try and save myself from being murdered. But he quite damaged my neck. I'll tell you, I had to go to hospital. And they said, no, your larynx is badly damaged, So I went to the doctor signed me off. But I complained to the governor, but nothing. Didn't do nothing. Said, oh, it's your word against his. Well, it wasn't really, because 2 officers had come in and pulled him off. Bloody mad. Anyway, you could be able to read about that in part 3 of my HMP Manchester Prison Officer part 3. Yeah, so there was a big problem with the drinking. Same at the Scrubs. Wormwood Scrubs, they go in there and neck a load of booze. It wasn't particularly good booze. I used to drink Guinness in London, but not at dinner time. I didn't particularly think. It isn't so much that I was worried about being inebriated on duty. I just never thought about that. It was carrying all that stuff around in my bladder. I couldn't do it. Anyway, that's my tales for the jails from today. I'm going to read you a poem now. This is a particularly nice poem that they usually perform at Last Night of the Proms. This is Jerusalem by William Blake. Are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then I shall begin. Jerusalem by William Blake. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among those dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold, bring me my arrows of desire, bring me my spear, O clouds, unfold, bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. There, Jerusalem by William Blake. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed it. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton.